Recording in progress.
And we have a few people on the call, and I got a text from just a minute ago from one of our reverends who didn't have access. Hopefully she's on by now. I texted it to her. If we think back just a couple years ago, 2020, around this time, we were in the throes of a unknown disease or virus that was threatening so many of us. And so many of our loved ones were caught up before we even knew what was going on. I in particular experienced the loss of a very dear close brother on April 1st of 2020. And his family wanted to reach out to me because they knew we were close, but they didn't know how to get a hold of me. They didn't know how to get a hold of me. And later on, about 6 weeks later, when I found out about it and got back with the family, it moved me to say, that situation should never occur. It should never happen. What can we do to avoid that situation being repeated? And so it inspired me to put together a class called Grave Matters. Now, I don't take credit for the class because I've taken the same class at my church in Orlando. I'm a snowbird, so I attend New Covenant Baptist Church of Orlando. And I took the class there. And I said, let's make it available to Hartford and to anyone in the Detroit area. So I don't claim credit for the class, okay? But God works through his people, and he does not hold anything back from us that we need to know. So that was the genesis of the class, and Brother Kelly and Brother Spears and the leadership of Hartford Men United said, well, let's go for it. Let's put it together, and let's do it in a virtual environment. And that's what we did. So this morning, we're going to talk about the class and how to access it. And then we'll talk about what it does and what it doesn't do, and what you need to do after having taken advantage of the information in the class. Before I do that, I'm going to ask Miss Roya Mccollum, if she would, to give us sort of a personal testimony about her situation related to grave matters. Miss Gloria, will you?
Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Roya Mccollum, and I was asked to give a little testimony about insurance information and what I had experienced at one time. At an early age, as a matter of fact, my oldest brother was killed in an automobile accident before he turned 32 years old. And although he had an insurance policy, which also we found out paid double the amount, because he was killed in the accident, his beneficiary was only our 12-year-old niece, who had inherited $80,000, and whose mother, my oldest sister, had temporarily abandoned her, and was in Chicago. Through a lot of drama and drugs. So, and since my brother had omitted setting up a trust or, other specifications for this 12-year-old niece, her mother returned to Detroit and had free access to the $80,000, and all the monies were gone in approximately a year and a half. And that traumatic experience surely taught my mother and me a good lesson, because my niece had been living with us and there was nothing we could do about it. My daughter initially didn't want me to talk to her about my death and paperwork that needed to be done for if I expired. So I just had all the paperwork written up, and bank accounts and transfer of deeds, power of attorneys, and everything, and just let her know where to find the things. Even though there's only one child, I realized that's involved in the death of a parent, there are some things that don't automatically transfer over to that only child's name. and where they have access to it, because some things get caught up in probate, I found out. So the process, I realize, is much less affordable than the burdens that's left on our surviving loved ones. And I just wanted to share that with you. And I just thank God for the wisdom that, learn from experience, and people can learn from, these courses and the experience that people have gone through to keep other folks from having to do that. And I just thank you for asking me to, share this information.
Well, thank you, Miss Gloria. Thank you so much. And you mentioned in your words the word burden.
Mhm.
And that is the subtitle to our Grave Matters class.
Okay.
Leaving a legacy, not a burden. And that's what this is all about. And it certainly is what we are called to do as believers. It's an act of love. It really is. And so what greater act of love can we do than to not leave a burden for our loved ones when our time on this earth has passed? So I'm going to basically talk about what's in the class, the modules, because it's a modular type of class. And then Brother Spears will help us show how to navigate the class through the website. And he is excellent at that. I don't need to pump him up any more than he already is. Okay, so we all know about his talents. So what is Grave Matters and how is the course constructed? It's a modular course with 6 modules that starts off with an introduction and overview and a scriptural background that supports why we're doing that. That's the first module. It's an introduction, and I do that module. The next module is one that is done by a mortuary friend of ours on final arrangements, just to understand how that process works and what you can do ahead of time to make it easier. The third module is given by Deacon Deborah Hicks of Hartford Memorial Church, who heads our Stevens ministry, and it's on grief support. How Stevens ministers, and we have one on the line, at least one, okay, can provide grief support to those who are going through periods of whatever they're going through, okay. The next module is on financial planning, and it's an excellent module. And Brother Deacon John Bradley, who is on the call right now, led us through that module, and there's great information in it. Some how-tos, okay?
Actually, that was
And
Josh. That was Steele.
I'm sorry.
Jeffrey Steele.
Jeffrey Steele did the financial planning module, and then Deacon John Bradley did the legal matter. So thank you, Brother Spears.
Sure.
Both are excellent modules, but I must say, in defense of Hartford Memorial Baptist Church, these are education and instructional modules. Hartford is not endorsing any one provider and not saying that you must go with that one or even recommending that one, because the church is not in a position to do that, and we should not do that. But it's certainly excellent information that you can avail yourselves of. And then finally, the last module comes back. It's a summary, a wrap up, and it's intended to move us from information to action. In other words, information is great. And you can take all of these modules in about just a little over an hour, and you can go right through them. But if you just go through the modules and turn it off and say, I'm done, that is not what we intend to do. We want you to be more intentional about taking the information that we provided to you through the class and then doing something with it. And we'll talk about what that something is in that last module. As we went through the class last year, we thought there's some other information that we wanted to add to the class after we had done the recordings. And one was on advanced directives and the importance of having advanced medical directives in particular when loved ones are still here on this earth, but need someone to make decisions for them. So there's a video recording on advanced directives that's a part of the class. And this year, we're just adding, we continue to grow with this. We've added a video recording on palliative care, the difference between palliative care and hospice care, and why it is so important, and how we might, when and how you might take advantage of the palliative care routines. So the class is going to continue to grow, which is good. God wants us to continue to grow in his word. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Brother Spears, because it may be more obvious to you after you see what he's going to show you, how to navigate through the class material. Brother Ron?
Thanks, JP. All right, so on behalf of Hartford Men United, Gene Kelly, our president, is on the line here. I'm Ron Spears, vice president of Hartford Men United. Just want to, before I show the website and how you can navigate to get to the class and take all the modules that JP had just mentioned. I see we have an accountability partner joining the line now, but we'll get into that a little bit later. We just want to thank you, JP, for bringing this course, and Reverend Larisi for all that you do in this matter. This is not something that's easy to talk about. And so by bringing this message and bringing this class on, and this is something that, President Kelly and I have decided this is going to be part of Hartford Men United Men's Month every single year. We will continue to hammer this message down until brothers, we don't have to work. The sisters got to get their stuff together too, but they're a whole lot better at it than the brothers. So, we go hammer this message every single year. The message does not change each year, but like Jerome said, you can add to it with other things that are, people just need to be aware of what's going on. So, so with that, let me see here. Hold on 1 second, I got to get onto the right. There we go. Okay, so you may have, in order to get to this class, you probably, I'm going to put this in the chat. This is a direct link to the Hartford Men United Grave Matters class, actually. But the website is spearsconsulting.com/legacy. That's how you can get to it directly. You may have gone from the Hartford Men United page. This shows all the activities for Men's Month, and this might be how you joined this class, but you can get to that site by clicking on the advertisement for this class. But again, Grave Matters Workshop. This is the cast of people, and let me move things around so I can be looking at the camera and not, never mind, hold on 1 second. Okay, are you guys still seeing Grave Matters class?
Yes.
Okay. I have to move my, because I want to be looking at the screen. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So JP mentioned the people who will be teaching the class, and this is who they are. This is a pre-recorded class, so we're not going through the class today. You do that on your own time, and to go through those modules. This is the actual class itself. So all you need to do is click on this here, and it's on YouTube. Okay, on Hartford's YouTube page. But anyway, there's a direct link to it right here. As he mentioned, the class.
Ron, I'm not sure we're seeing what you're saying.
We're not seeing anything, Ronnie.
Okay,
Right.
Thanks for letting me know.
We're just seeing the advertisement.
We back there now?
we're seeing the Grave Matters and the Hartford Men United. Okay.
So is this it now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Okay.
So again, these are the people who are teaching each of those modules. This is how you get to take the actual class here. It's only an hour and 16 minutes long, so it doesn't take too long to take it. We have the information here, and this is a checklist of all of the things that, and let me know, are you seeing the checklist now?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
yes, we are.
cool. So we have a checklist of all the things that you should have: personal information, assets, liabilities, debts, budget, and then the people who presented the class. This is their names and information and contact numbers. Okay. Now, this is to look at it online. If you want to download it and print it out, you can just click here, and that'll give you the ability to print this out and download it and, you know, literally use it as a checklist as you go through this. This is an article that you can read, but the headline says it all. More than half of American adults don't have a will, and that's 2017 number. And anything that you see that says American, you kind of double or triple it when you're dealing with Black folks. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. That number is probably in the 70% range for us, but that's just me guessing and being somewhat cynical. That's the Grave Matters part of it. Now we transition into the Advanced Medical Directive. If you have a Netflix account, this is a movie that they suggest you watch as part of the Advanced Medical Directive class. And then the class itself is also on YouTube, and you take that here. And this one is about an hour and a half long. And just like the Grave Matters class, the Advanced Medical Directive class has its own outline for the presentation, as well as the people who had presented, including Reverend Larisi Stokes, who is on the line with us today. So all of that information is there. The presentation that was presented last year is available. You just click on this button here, and then you will see the presentation that was presented last year. And then this particular checklist, you can click here if you want to download and print this out. And then the palliative care video that was played at church last Sunday is here for you to watch. So everything is all in one place, spearsconsulting.net/legacy. And I had put that in the chat. I'll sort of end that there unless there are any other questions about navigating to this course. One thing I forgot to mention is, this class is, again, it's going to be part of Hartford Men United every year. And so far, this class, 250 people, you can keep stats on YouTube, 250 people have taken this class so far. So that is a good number. We're excited about that. Now, have 250 people completed their wills? Probably not. But I'll let JP deal with that. But I just wanted to make sure you all knew and understand how to get to that information. Again, the link is in the chat, but if you don't even know what the chat is, just go to spearsconsulting.net/legacy. All right, JP, was there anything else that I was supposed to cover? Or
no, I don't know how we entertain questions from anyone else out there. How would you want to do that? Raise your hand,
just
put in the chat.
Put in the chat or ask, but I just want to make sure everyone knows how to get to the class. The class is also available on Hartford's YouTube page under the playlist Hartford Men United as well on YouTube. So there's a number of ways to get to it, but the easiest way is the link that was put in the chat, spearsconsulting.net/legacy.
Would you recommend that couples and spouse watch it together or separately, or how would you suggest? they do that? It would be best husbands and wives watch it together, partners watch it together, or can they watch separately and catch up? What would you recommend?
Let me try to answer that. It's always good if you have a spouse or a significant other to do things together. However, from a legal perspective, you must deal individually.
Let me just say one thing.
In other words,
I may.
your will is not your wife's will,
Wow.
or your significant other's will, okay?
I think
You guys can do a trust together, but a trust then supersedes the individuals, and that's the purpose of a trust. It becomes a legal entity unto itself. So going through the class material can be done either individually or collectively. But it's important that once you go through the class and you assimilate all the information that I was about to talk about, that all your loved ones, your spouse, particularly maybe your children, your grandchildren, your significant friend, your trusted person, knows exactly how to avail themselves of the material that we're going to ask that you pull together. All the materials that were on that checklist that Ron talked about, many of those are not legal things. They're things like my desired wishes on my transition service, how I would like you to take care of this precious piece of jewelry that I had, and who do I want to have it in my family? What types of, where do I want to be buried, and what type of ceremony do I want? That's particularly important as we become more of a mobile family, where we're in multiple locations. I'll tell you myself, I have instructions. If I were to transition while I'm in Florida, there's one thing. If I were to transition while I'm in Michigan, it's another thing. Okay. And then I got family, and I got a son in Atlanta, I got a son here. So because, and I'm not, that's not atypical. It's important that we leave instructions of what we would want to happen, so that the family doesn't have to try to figure it out on themselves, on their own, and clash heads, because they will clash heads sometimes. We know that. So to answer your question, Gene, it can be done together, but it can also be done individually. But it's important, even if you do it individually, that the end product is shared with those whom you love.
And I'll add another thing to that, because what we found out in a testimonial from last year, from Ken Brandon, who's on the call too, but a lot of times we have what we call like blended families, where we may be in a second marriage with kids from a first marriage, and or kids that you bring into the current marriage, and then you may want things so that's why it's important for you to you make that decision in terms of your will and how you want things to do. Now you bring in your spouse and all of that, just so that there's awareness and joint agreement on things. All that is up to you. But when it comes to us, there's some complications, and so that's why we have to be a little bit politically correct and say that. But one of the best things that you could do from a spouse standpoint is that accountability partner to make sure it gets done. So that's just one of the main things that we have found just from talking with people, and people being like Gloria was and like Ken was last year, who can just be super transparent and say why this is so important. And this is an example of something that happened with us, and how we were able to resolve it through this, whereas it would have been a totally different scenario if this will did not exist with specific instructions. And Ken's testimony is actually on the website too. If you scroll down, I didn't go down that far, but that testimony is on the website, and I'll probably put Gloria's testimony on the website as well, because a lot of times you just got to hearing other people share their stories is one of the best ways of instruction. Any other questions about the website or the class? Anything you want to talk about?
Any questions out there? Okay, Ron, can you pull back up that checklist for me?
Sure.
Because I want to go back to that checklist. And
Are you seeing it now?
no, we're just seeing the class overview.
Okay.
There it is. Okay. You might ask, well, what is this checklist all about? Well, I'll tell you, it's really, that is the deliverable, if you will, from the class. We recommend, after having taken this class and understood what it's calling out you to do, that you take the information that's in this checklist and you make like tabs for it in a folder or a binder. And under each tab, these are the types of information that you would have. As I mentioned, not all of this stuff is legal, okay? It's just, you know, under personal information, you know, your marriage license, your social security number, your driver's license, your blood type. But those of us who have military service discharge papers, ID cards, and things like that. And then basic information on names and children and grandchildren, et cetera. That's just one tab under in the binder. The other tab is major assets. Homes, if you know, some of us have more than one home, some of us have one home, but whatever you have that you own, that's a major asset. And so folks know, well, gee, you know, what this is, your loved ones know what you have and where it is. Investments, if you have IRAs, et cetera, or pensions, if you own automobiles or boats, bank accounts, prepaid funeral arrangements, if you've made those, we suggest that you put all that information under this tab called major assets so that folks don't have to search around to find all these things. And then major liabilities and debts. If you got mortgages, car notes, credit card unions and business loans, et cetera, put that in one place. Household budget, that's always a good item because someone probably is going to have to carry on after you. I don't know how you guys work your household, but in my household, if I were to pass, I certainly would want my spouse to know how to manage the budget of the household and not have to just start from scratch trying to figure it out. Okay, so it's good to have that information right there. Okay, knowing where the income comes from and knowing what the expenses are that got to go out and how to pick up and run with it. And then anything else would be valuable, sentimental, personal property. So these, I have a binder, we've had tabs just like that. And it's in everyone, my wife and my sons, I have 2 sons, know exactly where it is. So if I were to pass tomorrow, they wouldn't have to hunt through all the different places that they might think to hunt for to find it. It's all there in one place. And that's what we're suggesting that you do coming out of this class. It might take a little bit of time to get a will or a trust done. And that's why we understand that you just get started on that. But we will plan a check-in class sometime in April. We never want to interfere with what's going on during the Easter season. So it'll be sometime after Easter. And last year was, I think, the first Saturday after Easter, but we haven't scheduled that yet. But we will schedule something as a check-in just to see how you're doing and is there any questions, and mainly to encourage you to stay with the task. That's really what it's all about. So this is a self-directed class that you must be very intentional about doing the work. Taking the class is the easy part. Doing the work is where really the rubber meets the road, if you might say. Okay. At this point, if there are no questions, I certainly would ask if Reverend Larisi, is there anything that you would like to say? You're on the line, and you're our Minister of Pastoral Care, and you've been a good supporter of us in this time. Is there anything that you would like to say at all?
Only that kudos to the Hartford Men United, as always. You're stepping up to the mound to lead brothers as well as sisters to higher heights of accountability. It's important for us to remember that God expects us to be accountable. Now, He's a blessing giver, but we have to know what to do about the blessing and be intentional about all that He is opening up to us. I've been in church my entire life. We've come a long way, believe me. And I really salute Brother Gene and Brother Ron. And I have to make myself not call him Ronnie. His father's wife is a very good friend of mine. And Brother JP, I just am so excited about what the ministry of Hartford Men United is continuing to do for our community, and keep it up, please. But we are grateful for all that you continue to do, and especially with all of these all these classes, all these modules are very apropos to all of us, whether you're married or whether you're single, even whether or not you know Jesus, you still got to deal with what you are laying forth before the people. So thank you for your continued intentionality to bring this information forth. I'm grateful that you gave me a chance to speak, because I had contacted Brother JP this morning to tell him that a funeral that I'm supposed to be at has been changed to today. It was supposed to be yesterday, so I'll have to leave shortly to get down to the church and be with the family. But bless your hearts, I'm grateful to be a part of this.
Thank you, Reverend Larisi. Thank you.
You're
Thank
quite
you.
welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to, I see Deacon John Bradley on the line, and he is one of our presenters of the module. John, is there anything that you would like to say on behalf of the legal side of the grave matters? I'm calling you. I didn't tell you I was going to do it, but you're always prepared. I know.
As a deacon, you always have to be ready. In life, we have to be ready. And hats off to you, JP and Ron and Brother Kelly, for this effort. No, you've touched all the bases in terms of the highlights and what needs to be done. I especially am pleased with the fact that you mentioned that wills have to be done separately. Yes, the husband and spouse, the wife and spouse can look at this together, but they still need to have their own separate wills. But the checklist that you just presented and spoke on is crucial, because those are kind of the highlights of what you'll see in a will questionnaire, if you want to say that, where you fill in the information that's required to draft the will document. So we're on the right page and moving in the right direction. And I once again applaud your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you much. Thank you much. Before I turn it over to Brother Kelly, who wants to make some remarks about the whole Hartford Men United Men's Month, because this is only one of the activities special activities that we're launching this month. Ron, can you pull up that summary chart that I wanted to show?
Sure, but one quick, we got
Okay.
two quick questions.
Oh,
JP.
I'm sorry. Oh, good.
So Johnette, I know she was talking about the legal shield aspect of it as well. So Johnette, you have your hand up for a question.
Yes, I do, but it's not about that.
Okay.
You explain that, but my situation is, I guess I don't know how to form the question, so I'm just going to explain
Sure.
what it's about. I have a son, which is Frankie. He has mental illness. He's in a group home. He has a guardian that was appointed through court. So I guess my question is, do I need like a family guardian as well, just in case something happened to me? I know as far as, I don't know, well, I guess I don't know as far as my income because he is on SSI, and I am a working parent, so I don't know how to kind of word and find out what I need to know or how I need to go about, because he is an only child. I am a single mom, so I don't, have a spouse or a significant other. So I guess I need to know how to do that.
Mhm.
Well, Ms. Janetta, as you know, we talked about the module on advanced directives. And then there's a legal issue in terms of that Brother Bradley's module covers there.
Right.
Relative to your specific situation, I think we should probably talk about that offline.
Okay.
Because we can give you some guidance, but we certainly, as a member of Hartford Church, we cannot tell you what to do. That
Right.
would put the church in a very compromising position, and we're not empowered to do that. But we can give you some general guidelines, and you certainly can call me. I believe Brother Bradley would be available to take your call as well on the legal issue that you just raised. So,
Okay.
and our numbers are available on this site.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
go ahead, Brother Ron. What are you saying?
Did you have another question, Janetta?
No,
Okay.
that was it.
Yeah. No, yeah,
I
definitely.
don't even think I formed it in the question. It was just something that when he was talking just came about, because no, I don't have a will. So I don't know. We just have to work through it.
Mhm.
But thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone. Prince
You're
didn't
not
have a
alone.
will.
You're not alone.
I
alone.
mean, you're not alone.
Oh, okay.
And but at the same time, yeah, we do need to be intentional. We do need to take care of that. And when you look at those that personal information, and for me putting it together, which is right down here in a fireproof, waterproof safe, right next to my office, it's a point of pride for me, that I did it. I mean, it's a scary thing reading all of those things. It's
Yeah.
scary, but I'm 52 and it's done, and it's a point of pride for me because I know that my family's going to be taken care of. Not just because I married an amazing woman who can do all of that stuff with or without me, but just that know that my kids are taken care of.
Yeah.
And will be taken care of, and so that it's a point of pride for me, not a point of what's the word I'm looking for, a grave matter, like, oh God, I could die one day. I don't who thinks about that stuff, but I have a lot of pride. I want to encourage, because I know this is a very sensitive subject, so if you have a question that you don't want to ask publicly but ask privately, if you know how to use the chat feature, you can inbox or send a direct message to me, and I will ask the question anonymously, like I'm about to do this next one. Any advice on how we can help families who bicker, even when a will is present? Often some family members will say, but mama said, that's a great testimony that Ken Brandon mentioned last year. That it having the will dissipates all of that. The will takes precedent over anybody's opinions or comments. But I'll just sort of say that there. But JP, you kind of, and if anybody has any other questions like that, we're gonna touch on that. But feel free to send them to me or JP privately in the chat.
Okay. Well, first of all, Ms. Janetta, I just put my phone number in the chat. So if you want to call me after the session, I'm available. I once heard Reverend Dr. Freddie Haynes preach a sermon at Hartford Church, and it stuck with me because the title of his sermon was "Ain't No Drama Like Family Drama." And I can tell you that even when you have all the legal documents in place, the wills, the trusts, you still will get some family drama. The key is how you're able to work through that drama. And wills can be contested. You can put all your intentions in that you want in the world, but if some other family member says, well, I don't think that's what mama really wanted or daddy really wanted, they can contest that. A trust is less likely to be trusted. It flows through the probate process much easier because the trust itself becomes a legal entity in itself. And so there are advantages to a trust over a will, but a will is certainly a good thing to have. But now, will it avoid family drama? I can't guarantee that. I can tell you a personal story. I mentioned a friend of mine who passed April 1st of 2020, and he had a trust. He also had two adult children with grandchildren who lived in different cities. He lived in Southfield, Michigan, and he had a house. His wife had passed 15 months before him, so he was a widower. And he had a sister who lived in Baltimore, who was the executor of his estate. Now, I talked to his sister a number of times, and she said, thank goodness I had this trust agreement, because those children, they thought they could do what they wanted to do. They didn't care what daddy said in his trust. They came up from out of town, said they're going to take over the house, even though he had told me what to do in the trust with the house. So she said, I had to deal with a lot of family drama, but I had the advantage of the trust on my side. And so it got resolved. But if I didn't have that, Lord knows how this family drama may have continued to play on. And so I talked to her a lot, and she always says, I started to get her to come on this class tonight, but she's probably more verbose than I am, so that wouldn't have been too well. But anyway, to answer your question, you can't avoid family drama, but you can certainly get through it better with these documents than if you didn't have them. John, do you want to add anything? John Bradley? No? Okay.
Nope, I agree 100%. Thank you. I also
Okay.
like to comment, Janetta, I privately messaged you as well.
Okay, good.
JP, if I may.
Yeah.
I want to, I guess, give you a personal testimony as far as from the real estate field. My day job is a real estate agent, broker, and I've been doing real estate for the last 22 years. And one of these main things that come up it has to do with property. And I will say that the personal testimony is with my mom. She basically put together a trust and wills and all that sort of thing about 10 years ago. And, after explaining that to myself and my brother, she told me where the information was in the house. She gave my brother and I a card to the attorney that we have in our wallet. Upon our passing, we pull out the card and make a phone call. She's got it that simple. And so after getting over the fact and the emotional stress of my mommy's going to die one day, I got to the point of a sense of peace where it says, you know what? All I have to do is worry about grieving because I have the instructions after she's gone to take care of things. Now we fast forward into today. I have two testimonies of why you really need to get this thing done. I was contacted by a bank. Some of my relationships were in foreclosures back in the day and such. And I had a bank contacted me from New York and said that we need you to check on this house. We are now the owners of the house. And usually when a house is foreclosed on, the family has 6 months to redeem the property to get it back. Well, they're calling me now, the redemption period is up. And when I looked at the name on the account, it was the estate of XYZ. So apparently somebody had passed away. The house was in foreclosure. The estate, they knew who the estate was, and I believe that some correspondence went out to said estate, and that 6 months redemption period was up, and now whoever was going to be in that house, the house was gone. So my job was to basically go and deliver this news to find out who's in this house. So I went last week, and I went to the home, and to the dismay, I gave the occupant of that home some very grave news. That the individual that was there, the individual that passed away was the woman's aunt. The lady that was in the house had moved in with the aunt to help her, during her days. The aunt had diabetes and had lost a limb and such, and she was being a caregiver for this individual, and this person had passed away a couple of months ago. Well, I informed her that, apparently this house was foreclosed on back in July, and you had a redemption period, which is up as of today. Did you know anything about this? She said no. And to my dismay, when on the block, it was a very big block, but she pointed across the street. My nephew lived across the street. My auntie lived down the street. My cousins live around the corner. Everybody, there was all family within that block, but nobody knew that the house was in foreclosure, because apparently the house was in foreclosure while the person that was in charge of it was alive, but nobody knew. And so, unfortunately, I was left with, because I checked the records and it was legally respect, the house, I was basically left with giving a cash for keys, meaning that I had to basically say, okay, you have a certain amount of time to move before you're evicted. And this woman that answered the door, even though this was her aunt, this woman was in her 50s or 60s. So there were family members all around this, and somebody knew, but nobody did anything. And so now there's a bunch of bickering that's about to happen of who shot John and who said what and where what, whose fault is this? And all I'm doing is being the bearer of bad news, which I didn't have to do.
Yeah.
Second story, I had somebody call me regarding a family member, his grandfather's house. Grandmother passed away years ago. Grandfather really never did anything about it, but grandfather died probably in the last 10 years. Nothing was done. Everything was pretty much left to the son. The son's living in the house. Well, they found the son in the house about a week ago. He was passed away, and he's been in the house over a month, and nobody knew. So now we have a chain of title. Everybody's dead, and we got to figure out who owns the house. So these are the tasks that you don't want to have to avoid, not only going through the grieving of losing a loved one, but then what to do with said property, and then not knowing how to go about it. If the wrong people get the wrong hands on it, it could put a big muckety muck on things in addition to the grieving that you have to deal with. So with that being said, it is very important that you get your affairs in order, regardless of the age. Just suck it up and go get through it, because it is going to make it a lot easier on the other side. Again, just a real estate professional example.
Thank you. Thank you for those examples. And there are many, many more. And I'm glad that you shared those two with us. Any more questions that we have out there?
Yeah, I'll share just something that happened this year. I'm president of the Detroit Morehouse Alumni Association, and we try to check in on our elders, every now and then. But we had a situation where one of our elders, who just happened to be a Hartford member as well, somebody had called to say, hey, we haven't seen this brother, or he hasn't replied to my text, and that's not like him. And so, they kind of looked to me to figure out what to do. So I ended up, we had a couple of brothers stop by his house and knock on the door, and no response. And, I called the Southfield police to ask for a wellness check. And, they kind of were like, we don't, we can look in the window and knock on the door, but, we can't really go. Yeah, I knew that I didn't know anything about his family. I knew he didn't have a spouse or lived with anybody. I knew he lived by himself, and I knew he had sickle cell. The police had called me back about a half hour later and said that he was deceased. and on his couch. And fortunately, I didn't know what to tell the police because I knew nothing about his family. But fortunately, the medical examiner was able to find his brother. And so his brother was able to, take action, and we had the funeral at Hartford, and his brother was extremely grateful that we were. So it's just, you just never know what kind of a blessing or burden life can throw your way. So this is just, as you know, it's called grave matters for a reason, but it's reality.
Yeah.
Question. Hey, this is to Deacon John. The legal services that is offered, do they provide that type of service, such as creating wills and trusts that you're aware
Absolutely.
of?
Absolutely. Yes, they do. That's one of our main products, main services.
And is there a fee for that?
How about we talk offline?
Yeah. No, I just, because I know there's certain services, and then, like legal aid and all those others that might do something of that nature.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Leon, let me also say, I'm glad you mentioned that. In our course material, I think in the wrap up, we have an article that was presented by AARP. So we don't, it's their endorsement, not ours. Okay, we just copied their article of zero cost and low cost legal aid services. I can't attest to how good they are. I don't want to, but this is just AARP's something that they publish. Now, John Bradley will tell you a lot about what his service does, and I'm sure that's excellent as well. Okay. So, in other words, in module 6, you can see that list of the zero cost, the AARP list.
This is Ken Brandon. This is Ken Brandon. I'm having some technical problems. But anyway, I missed the first part because I couldn't hear. But last year I used Legal Shield because I have that, and they did my will, and it didn't cost anything. So I don't want to conflict with anything that's already been said, but as a member, it was free.
All right, thank you. Any others? Any other comments? Any other questions? Okay. Having said none, I want to bring up my summary chart, and then I want to, after I do the summary about this class, turn it over to Brother Kelly, who will talk about the Men's Month activities and encourage your support for those. Okay, this is going to be a quick wrap up. First of all, we talked about, well, what is the objective of the class? It is information sharing leading to action. And action is capitalized because that's the key, but we would like to be the deliverable, not just the dispensation of information. It consists of information modules from professionals who have made themselves available to assist. Their names or contact information is available on the site. It consists of the checklist of documents and personal information that we suggest that you assemble in a binder or a folder that is readily available to your loved ones. That checklist, we've gone over it before. And we suggest that you select an accountability partner, someone to keep you on task. Someone, because this is easy to get started and say, oh, this is too, I'll put this off to another day. And so we suggest that you select someone whom you trust. If it's in your household, that's great. If it's outside your household, that's okay too. But it's someone that you trust, just to say, okay, we're going to try to do this stuff together at the same time frame. We're going to target, it says 30 to 60, it'll be more like 60 days for completion. I ask you to target that, and we will try to schedule a follow-up session sometime in mid-April. we'll learn more about that through the announcements. Be intentional. I think Reverend Luisi mentioned that, and the word intentional is in bold. Be about it. Don't just think about it. Contact any professors or professionals of your choosing for assistance. Use the low-cost tab, the low-cost organizations that are available in our listing. I just mentioned that. And it's important to say, Hartford Church is providing this information to help you get started. We are not, as a church, providing legal advice or recommendations of specific strategies. That is our disclaimer, and we got to put that out there. So we encourage you, when we schedule the follow-up session in April, it'll be sometime late April, that you attend. Mainly, maybe you can give a testimony of what you've done in the first 8 weeks, okay, or how far you've come and how far you have yet to go. And if you got questions, obviously we'll try to answer them there. So that is my wrap up of the Grave Matters session. I hope it's been informational. I hope it will lead to action. And now I want to turn it over to Brother Kelly, who has some remarks about the whole Men's Month activities. Brother Kelly.
Thank you, Brother Pittman. Thank you, Ron Spears. Thank you, Ken Brandon. Thank you for the entire team for putting this together and keeping us going. I thank you all for joining us today. It's beautiful to have this Zoom call while we're looking outside, and it's probably about 8 degrees outside, but we're in a nice warm houses and everything like that. Just want to reemphasize that it is important to get all of our affairs in order, okay? Time is a race we will not win. And basically, the more things that we put in front of us, the better chance we have to enjoy the life that we have left, that God has granted us to have. So it is very important, along with all of the things we got for Men's Month, understand that our theme is men abiding in faith. We want to make sure that you have the faith to do what you have to do, and you have the faith to get through the things and the trials and tribulations that you have to deal with. As you know, Men's Month has started, and we have a great lineup for you. We started off beautifully with our prayer breakfast, which was well attended, and we figured out the Zoom. It kind of was a last minute thing, but we were able to rig some things up, and we're able to do virtual and live. So we're very blessed to have that, to be able to be one of the first organizations to be able to test these things out. So we'll be able to have more in-person things as well as Zoom for your comfort. We had intended to have our Wednesday night services all live in the sanctuary, social distance and such, but we had to do a small pivot because we had the mega storm come out of nowhere on Wednesday. So I am thankful to the team at Hartford and the technology team as well for us to have an ability to have that Wednesday night service. We had to move to Zoom, but I am blessed to say that we had over 155 people on that Zoom call. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing, because we were able to be fed by Victor Sharp. Wait, Victor, I don't have my eyes on.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
Victor Sharp.
That's right.
Victor Sharp. And his congregation was there, and we had a wonderful good time. And again, we were safe. So
Reverend JP for the words of encouragement.
yes,
Yes,
we did. Yes, we did.
I asked to do it on the spot.
On the
Hey, can you do
fly.
it?
And we was able to do it. So that's a beautiful thing. So going into now this Wednesday coming up, Lord willing, with the they say, the old folks say, the Lord willing, the creek don't rise. That's a shout out to Reverend McCollum. But we will have Reverend Dr. Lawrence Foster, one of the from senior pastor from Calvary Baptist Church. We will be in the sanctuary at 7 p.m. and we'll be there, and we will be Zooming as well, because the church has figured out a way to that as well. So those that are used to doing Zoom, feel free, but those that want to be in the spirit, come on out and join us. We will have on the 16th Wednesday, we'll have Reverend Dr. Alton K. Parks, pastor of Historic People's Community Church. And then on the 23rd, we will have Reverend Buell Curry, pastor Wayside Baptist Church. Again, feel free to come out. As you know, it's getting close. Well, it'll be closer to springtime. So, you know, the weather should hopefully get better. Knock on wood, I'll knock on my head. Coming also too is that we're going to have our Men's Health Summit, which is going to be Saturday, February 19th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's going to be our men's health substance abuse workshop, as well as the men's prostate cancer awareness and panel discussion. We're going to have, that's going to be Trustee Arbuckle and Brother Deacon Leon Johnson is going to be leading that charge. And we're going to have food. We're going to have Grubhub. So we're going to ask you to go on the website and go to the site and register on the Eventbrite site so we can make sure that we can get your food for that. But it's going to be totally virtual during that period of time. And just again, men, that's in addition to us having to take care of our business, we also got to take care of our health. Amen. So we want to make sure that, you know, we're going to have that health summit every year as well as part of a Heart for Men United's platform. And we want to make sure, hey, if you check on yourself at least once a year, let's at least make that this time of the year, the beginning, that time you check yourself out and make sure that you're doing the right things and taking care of yourself. I'm going to have you come back live one more time, the men's banquet at the end of February, which will be the 26th. We're going to have Reverend Dr. Gregory E. Bryant, pastor from the Calvary Presbyterian Church. And that's going to start at 5:30 p.m. And we're going to go to about 7:30. And we're going to transition right in. That's going to be in Fellowship Hall. We're going to transition right into Saturday night service, where we'll have a guest preacher for that. And, you know, Pastor Adams will be there as well. And then going into Men's Day, we will be in the church live in sanctuary. We will be marching in toe to toe, 2 by 2, 7:30 and 11 o'clock service. And Dr. Lance Watson will be there to accommodate us. One last thing too, we want to make sure that we get our reservations in place for the church retreat. We want to make sure that we have a beautiful retreat plan. It's in April. So hopefully by that time, you know, some of the protocols will be in place and some of this COVID scare will be down. And we're going to be in, I believe it's Maumee, Ohio. And the deadline for that registration, they'll have people downstairs in Fellowship Hall in between services. You want to make sure you get there and register. I believe single occupancy is one something, and a double occupancy is another number. But again, husbands and wives, feel free to come on in. And that deadline is February 20th. That's my birthday. So just remember, on February 20th, you have the deadline. You got to make sure you can come by, wish me a happy birthday, and make sure you get your registration for the Hartford retreat that's going to be in April. So again, that's our lineup. We are very happy that you guys were able to come out and join us. We are very pleased that we're going to start off this great Men's Month. We want to make sure that our men, that our captains, we do have a goal that we have to reach. We have to raise the money for the church, whether it's cold, sleet, rain, or snow. Just like the post office, we men of Hartford have to do what we got to do and make sure that we have our assignments. Lastly, Ron has put up on the screen, he's always putting that up, that we have assignments for you. Okay, we want you to become a Stevens minister. We want you to be part of Men of Presence. We're going to pull up Men of Presence again, the things that we've adopted another school. And we're going to start ramping up the Men of Presence, getting into those schools. We're going to be working with Reverend JB with the College Circle. We're going to be working with the youth department. We're going to be going out to the basketball games. We as men have to be present, not only in the church, not only in our families' lives and in the community, but we have to be present all the time, because in order to get things done, we have to do what we have to do, and we have to be men that stand firm in faith. So again, I thank you. I welcome you. We have a lot of things packed and chock full for Men's Month, and I just thank you for coming out and joining us. Tell a friend, talk to us. Tuesday night Bible study. I forgot about that. 7 p.m. Pastor Christian teaches it. It's just like the Black Barbershop. I don't have any here, but I can get some good word fed to me. So those are our events. See the website, jump on Heart for Men United website. You'll see everything we got going on. If I forgot anything, Ron's already got it on the website. I thank you for the leadership that we have and all the people that's about. And we're always recruiting for men to do things within this church and this church body. To God be the glory, and to Heart for Men United be God. Thank you very much. And you guys have a great one. Could we have,
quick question.
Sure.
Okay, what is the deadline for the Grubhub, and can that be published? And is it possible to let people know how it will work? Because I think that created a big problem when we were doing DoorDash and things like that, you know, like the dollar amount, et cetera, to make life simpler. If
well, I will say this, that would be a, what's his name? That would be an Arbuckle question, because his group is handling that. I believe they have the Eventbrite link for you to sign up on. I believe that information would be on that. I don't know.
Yeah,
if it's-
see, I saw that, yeah.
Okay.
Just in their deadline where, unless you're saying that on the 19th, somebody could still Grubhub?
No, I don't. Well, here's the thing. When we did it for Hartford Maine United last year, I was able to add people on the day of. Not saying that I recommend it because it was a hassle, but I was able to add people even during the window from 6 to 8. People were calling me at 6 o'clock trying to get at it, and I was able to do it. That being said, I believe our vocal has some deadlines in place. That is something I'd have to find out. I would gladly, once we do find that out, we probably would be able to put something out. And
It's in the, we have the, this is not, hold on one second. Hartford Men United 2022. New share screen one. Okay. So this is and I put the link in the chat. This is our Hartford Men United website for everything Men's Month this month. So this is where you can put in your name and email, and you can sign up to say, you can commit to be intentional of getting your will taken together, to take this class, become a Stevens minister, all of that. To donate to Hartford Men United and pick your favorite captain, you can do that right here. That's this class. Bible study Tuesday nights right here. Wednesday night services. You can click here for the Zoom or just come on into the church. This is what Deacon Leon is talking about right now. This is the Men's Health Summit. You can click here and this will take you to the Eventbrite, which will likely have details on the Eventbrite site. I'll click on it, just hopefully it'll go to that. Do you guys see the Eventbrite now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm sure they'll have a deadline. Well, they may have a deadline on here for that, but it's just advantageous to just take care of it, get it done, as quickly as possible, so that you can be included in the Grubhub aspect of that, to get food delivered to your home, lunch delivered to your home. I don't see off the top a deadline for that. Just taking a quick scan at this. But I would recommend you do it earlier, because they may not be as gracious as President Kelly was last year. But anyway, this is all the information that you need for Men's Month, right on one place, so you don't have a whole lot of different places to go to.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Yeah.
If there are no other questions, then I'd like to close with our Men's Month scripture and a very quick closing prayer. Any other questions at all? Or comments?
I just want to reiterate that Brother JP and the team, you're doing an excellent job. Oftentimes these guys won't take any credit for all the things they do because they're so humble. But I want you all to acknowledge the fact that these people are the genesis and the creator of this. Without them, there would not be any grave matters. And so I know they don't like to take credit, but I want y'all to give a nice little hand clap or wave to JP and his team for doing this, because without him, we wouldn't have it. We're gonna love on you whether you want it or not, brother.
Okay. As you know, as many of you know, and if you don't know, our scriptural theme for this month's Men's Month activity is taken from 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 13 and 14. And it reads this way: be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be men of courage, be strong, do everything in love. Precious Father, we thank you this morning for this time of gathering. We thank you, dear Lord, that you have helped us to be intentional about what we should do and what we are committed to do. We know, dear Lord, that all things work together for our good because we love you. But now, Lord, help us to do the things that we are instructed to do and that we are encouraged to do through this Grave Matters class and through all the other activities of the Hartford Men's Month agenda for 2022. And as I said at the outset, and I'll say it again, Lord, give us the courage to do that what we ought to do. Give us the discernment to not do what we should not do. And give us the wisdom to know the difference. Now let us go our own merry ways, that we will never depart from your presence. The Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. In the name of Jesus that I pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Amen.
Amen.
Good
Great
job.
job, guys. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Great information. Mhm. Yes.
Have a good day.
Have a blessed one.